Hello and welcome in, everyone. It's Aaron St. Dennis at FF Mad Scientist, joined by Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05, and welcome to the fucking carnage. It is NFL Week 16. That's round 2 of most of your playoffs. Today we're doing the NFC home games. Good God, this is going to be a mess. This whole week, it's a shit show. There's games everywhere. There's, 2 on Saturday, a bunch on Sunday, 3 on Monday. You've got ugly matchups. You have probably a preview of what I think is the Super Bowl, the two best teams. And you've got a whole bunch of backup quarterbacks and backup running backs, and everything's a fucking mess. If you have a backup quarterback that you've been playing for the last few weeks, chances are you're fucked this week unless it's Baker Mayfield, because all those DeVito types that you've been streaming, they all have shit matchups. So it's going to be an ugly week. You as enthusiastic about it as I am, Jesse, or are you just dreading it?
I'm absolutely pumped to roll out Mr. Elite Joe Flacco and multiple semifinal matchups this week. It's going to be glorious, baby. He's taking down Houston. Let's roll. That's just where I'm at. I've accepted the chaos a long time ago. I'm like, hey, let's go. Win me the championship, old man. I need it.
That is absolutely terrifying. I'm trying to find. I know you just tweeted this out. Sorry, guys. We're doing a little test here on some of the features that have been added to StreamYard. I'm trying to grab your tweet here. Oh, you retweeted mine. Okay. Are you seeing the comment? No, it did not come up. So that answers our question. YouTube does not pull the comments from our Twitter post. Sorry,
so I think it's got to be the live ones. So like, you know how it's streaming.
Oh, do you see that? It should be set to live streaming, right? Oh, there it is. Let me try that. Sorry, guys, bear with us. We are trying, week 16. We are testing new theories out in week 16.
And if that doesn't work, I know which one will work. It'll have to be like on your phone when you open up the video. There's a little like.
It did not work unless.
Yeah, it needs to be on my phone. I know exactly how it will work.
Unless it is a delayed feed. That comment did not come through. All right, we are going to proceed. Our integration is not as seamless as we had hoped. So hopefully the people who've seen our post on Twitter will join the stream. If you're watching this on Twitter, we cannot see your questions, so feel free to drop in on YouTube, and we will be able to answer them there.
I will say the only one I think that works is if they open up, like expand the video bar to like the big on your phone. You can comment inside of that. I think it will come, but outside of that, it's not going to work.
All right, let's try this for the first time. See if I screw it up, Jesse. 1, 2, I did. I screwed it up.
Hey, we're back. We're good.
Format background. Yep, I had one job and I screwed it up and put it backwards. But this is how we're gonna start off, and my seamless shit show there kind of indicates what this game's gonna be. We've got Saints at Raiders. Rams by 4 is the projection here. The quarterbacks. We start off with a game with 2 starting NFL quarterbacks. What? That's really rare. We've 8 games today. I'm not sure how often we'll be able to say that. We also have Cardinals, Bears, Colts, Falcons, Giants, Eagles, Jags, Bucks, Lions, Vikings, Packers, Panthers, and Ravens, Niners. It's amazing this time of year how you have like 3 or 4 games where you're really all in on them. And there are, at least 2 games there where I'm just like, I don't care. There's no fantasy relevant players. Neither team's in the playoff hunt. I don't give a shit. But we'll start with, we've got some I guess we've got some good fantasy options here and 2 borderline playoff teams for various degrees and different reasons. Start with quarterbacks. The rankings here, we have 7th best matchup for Derek Carr and the 7th worst matchup. Oh, I thought that was my kid. I'm like, wait, my kid.
No, that's mine.
7th best matchup for Carr, 7th worst matchup for Stafford. Having said that, I feel confident and it backs me up. Stafford is my 9. Carr is my 21. Stafford has been on fire. I don't love this matchup, but, after this we go Goff, Mayfield, Kyler, Russ, Geno. 9 is about, even in a bad matchup, 9 is about as low as I can move Stafford, and I even feel like I might move him 1 above Tua here. So I think Stafford is a must start this week, and Derek Carr is a QB2 in a super flex league. That's about it. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I have Stafford and Geno kind of paired together, along with that Goff tier. Like I really like all of those matchups. You can move up a little higher. He's 13 for me, but you're talking about 9, I totally see that. It's like Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and this kind of cuts off into like the truly elites with like Purdy and Fields and stuff like that. So once you get from 9 to about 14, 15, that's kind of a tier I'm moving around. But yeah, like I 100% trust Stafford. He's been on fire lately, and I know the matchup is not as good, but there's no way I would play Derek Carr over Matthew Stafford. Like that's just you're asking for trouble. So it's 100% with you on Stafford. I think Carr is 21 for me. Let me double check.
Yeah, sorry, he's 23 for me too.
Yeah, no, he's 23. He's one spot below Aiden O'Connell. So that shows you how I feel about Derek Carr this week. No, thank you. I want nothing to do with that. So
overall, down at 28, man.
It's not good. It's not great. Let me tell you. If we're talking about Derek Carr in the same sense with Aiden O'Connell, you know it's an issue.
All right, the running backs here. Fourth worst matchup for the Saints. The Rams get the, ninth worst matchup. Got to have some must starts here regardless. Sorry, I'm loading my rankings up. I'm not as with it today as I should be. I have Kyren Williams at 2 overall. Alvin Kamara at 5. So I have 2 top 6 running backs in this game. I want no part of Jamal Williams. I think Kendre Miller is out. I want no part of Freeman or Evans. So you have 2 must starts for me, and everybody else is in a void. What do you got?
Yeah, these are the true like fantasy just special players that you want in your lineups. You're starting them wherever you have them. Kyren Williams has the best role in the NFL pretty much. If it's not the best, he's like the second best role. It's just he gets all the work, all the touches, all the high value touches, everything you could want from a fantasy running back. And the only issue is he's just slow and he's small. But besides that, he's elite, so I don't really care. Just put him out there.
Sounds like it would be an issue. He's slow.
It would be, small. But he fits that scheme so well. He's like the perfect fit for what he could do offensively. They love him.
This so is the irony too, like to draft season of all the metrics you see, of all the rookie profiles and all this. It's like Tom Brady. There's no metric that told you Tom Brady would be as good as he was. There is no metric that tells you anyone should have drafted Kyren Williams. He sucked in his first year. He was what? Well, he was injured for part of it, but he lost his job to everyone. And even now he only got in because of injuries. And then when he did, he's slow, he's small. And lo and behold, he has the best workload. So this is the prime argument here for opportunity over talent at running back. Wouldn't go with that any other position, but at running back, opportunity is like 75% of the battle. So
it's king. It's absolutely king. And yeah, I would say like Cam Akers has never really been good. So that is maybe the one reason you could have been in on Kyren, just taking the dart on him. But overall, yeah, I'm with you. It's
but like going into this season, talent-wise, Cam Akers had a far better profile. He was faster, he was bigger, he had a better history of production. There's no reason why Kyren should be a thing other than Kyren's a thing.
Well, yeah, like Kyren's production was good overall. Like Notre Dame, he's a really good player. It's just we just thought it wasn't going to translate. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, I was never in on Kyren Williams.
Don't get me wrong, I love him now, but this is not one where like originally when we started that because he was the Walker Brees Hall class, correct?
Yes, he was 2 years ago.
Originally, when I had him in my rankings, I had him based college profile alone. I hit him as my number 2 behind Brees Hall. I loved him. We got through the Senior Bowl. He didn't look good. We got through the Combine. He didn't look good and didn't test half the ones you'd want to see. Yeah. And he fell to like 7 for me. And I drafted him. I think I drafted him in the 5th round of one league. And even then I ended up dropping him when he got hurt. And it was just amazing how you can be so in on someone, so out on someone, and then he can be back out. He is the running back version of Quentin Johnston for me. QJ was my number 1. Then he was almost off my board. Then he was kind of on my board. I'm all over the place with 1 or 2 of these guys every once in a while.
Yeah, it's very fitting. The Rams have 2 of these guys, and Kyren and Puka. Like 2 of these guys that everyone was out on, and they're absolute superstars. So, you know,
it's just amazing these cases, though, where the film tells you one thing and the metrics tell you or the performance tells you the exact opposite, and it's going, oh, I have no idea. You know, do I go with the analytical side of my brain or the film side here? And I'm going, I don't know what to do with these guys. So.
Right, exactly.
Moving on to the wide receivers, we have the 3rd worst matchup for the Rams, and the Saints get the 14th best matchup. I think at least one of the Rams will be ranked the highest out of this group. It's Cooper Kupp for me at 8. Then I'm moving down. I have Puka at 20. Oh, sorry. Olave at 17 and Puka at 20. I think that's pretty safe for me. I like Cooper Kupp far better than anyone else. Olave, I have ranked higher than Nakua. He worries me a little. This quarterback play sucks. His health status has sucked. But he's a spot where he plays tonight. If you got him, you probably got to get him in your lineup. So other than that, I think I'm going to roll down here. I don't think I have. My next highest guy is Shaheed at 43. I don't particularly want to go with him or anybody else in the receiving rooms here. And I have Demarcus Robinson at 68. But what do you think about the mainly the three receivers here in this one?
Yeah, like the coach said Olave is good to go, so I'm treating him as if he's healthy. It sucks. Like last week, we were hoping he would play. It did not happen. So he's healthy. He's rested. He should be fine. I do have him as
when he said Olave was good to go. Did he happen to factor in that his quarterback's Derek Carr?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, if only he was talking about for fantasy.
Maybe not good to go. Maybe not good. He's okay to go, but not good to go.
Yeah, it's been a very frustrating year for Chris Olave. The guy is extremely talented. It's a lot of that class needs a quarterback.
Yes, I was just thinking him and Garrett Wilson. Man. I know, man.
It's brutal. It's so bad. Drake London, same shit. Like get these guys quarterbacks, man. Just get them quarterback. They'll be incredible. But yeah, I have Olave split the difference between the two. Cup has been awesome the entire year. So has Puka, but it's just like we've seen Cup shift forward a little bit more. So in this matchup, I like him the most. But overall, they're all top 24 options. Like I'm playing all three of them everywhere I have them. And yeah, the matchup is not as great for the Rams wide receivers. Honestly, I don't care. Like I trust that offense against the Saints. Like they should produce points.
The tight end situation is truly terrifying for me. In my start-sit column, I have Taysom Hill as a start. 5th best matchup. 11th best matchup for Higbee. I do not have him as a start. This is terrifying. Higbee I've got down at 26. I want no part of him. The Saints are good against tight ends. Well, mediocre against tight ends. Taysom Hill is the interesting one for me. If you're favored to win and you need a safe tight end, Taysom Hill is not your guy. But like I said in my start-sit column, this one's over at King Fantasy Sports. Taysom Hill has probably the highest ceiling of any tight end in fantasy. Anyone. Like when he goes off, it's 45 points. He also has the most non-existent floor of any tight end in fantasy. So if you're a considerable underdog and you need to hope you run into a 40-point game, I see the comment, then that Taysom Hill is for you. If you only need someone who's going to get you 10 points, then you probably play Higbee, who I don't want to play either. So what are you doing here? This is scary.
No world. I'm not touching Higbee. That just sounds like you're asking for trouble. We've seen Higbee disappoint basically his entire career. Like, I'm not risking playoffs with Tyler Higbee. I would much rather go with Taysom Hill and shoot for the upside. If it burns me, cool. Like, Higbee just doesn't have upside to me. So, yeah, I'll fire up Hill if you need it. Like, you're in the tight end 15 range, and you're looking at guys like Mayer, Otten, Kraft, Schultz, stuff like that. Like, I'll fire Taysom Hill in that range.
I'm going to run through the last here, kicker and defense. We have a kicker question, so I'll get to that in 1 second there, George. Kickers, I actually like both these guys this week. For Haversack, 15th best matchup. For Groupie, 6th best matchup. I think I have them. Haversack I have at 10. Groupie I have a little further down. Well, way further down at 20. I think you can get away with streaming both. I would much prefer Haversack. The DSTs we have 4th worst matchup for the Saints, 12th worst matchup for the Rams. I don't think either of them cracked my top 12. Rams at 18, Saints at 29. So if you can avoid either of them, I would do so. If you don't have, do you have anything to add to that? If not, I'll get to the question.
No, I'm with you. Like that's how I view it. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, kicker question. Lutz, McPherson, Haversack, Badgley, or Tampa kicker? Tampa kicker's McLaughlin, I think, unless they made a change that I didn't see. Okay, so Badgley, I was just talking about this with someone because I'm in the Detroit area. He was added to the roster and Riley Patterson was cut. Riley Patterson is supremely accurate but has no distance on him. Badgley is maybe the most inaccurate kicker I've ever seen but has the distance, and he was given the job because the Lions just, if you watch the way they play, they weren't going for anything beyond like 45 yards because Riley didn't have the legs. So they brought Badgley in here, so at least, if they got to kick a 50 to 60 yarder, at least maybe they just got to hope he hits it. Let's look at this, though. So let's McPherson. Sorry, I'm multitasking here. I can't remember all these names. So we said Haversack has I got to scroll up. Haversack has a middle-of-the-pack matchup. Lutz and McPherson. For Lutz, it is the 9th best matchup. McPherson, 10th best matchup. Chase McLaughlin, 26th best matchup. I don't like McLaughlin right off the bat for Tampa kicker. Bad matchup. He hasn't been good. I want nothing to do with him. Badgley, I have it as Patterson in my chart, but Badgley, it's the 7th best matchup. I don't want to risk him. He's too inaccurate. So right off the bat for me, I'm going to limit this to Lutz, McPherson, and Haversick. I don't really like Will Lutz. McPherson, Haversick. Just like, let me switch over my rankings. I'm multitasking here. I have Lutz as he is my 8th right now, but I feel like I want to move that down. I feel like my gut tells me Haversick here, but for me, it's between Haversick and Lutz. Haversick and Lutz. The matchup is slightly better for Lutz. I just don't trust him. I'm leaning Haversick here. Do you have a way you lean yourself?
Yeah, so like if I'm looking at rankings, I have Lutz higher, like you're talking about. But overall, I'm with you on that aspect of not trusting the situation going against New England. It seems a little treacherous to me. So yeah, if you want to roll Haversick in this matchup against the Saints, like I'm fine with it. I'm okay taking the gamble with kicker. Like I'm more willing to take gambles like that with kicker than I am with other positions, just because of how I treat the position. And I don't expect see massive surges one way or the other. So personally, sure, I'm fine with Haversick if you want to go that route. I think Lutz is a little bit safer, but I think Haversick has more variance to him.
Yeah, my feeling would be Lutz or Haversick, but if I had to, like I said, I would go with Haversick. All right, let's see if I can get this right again. 1 over, 1 there, and 1 sec. Now I got to find a way to bring up the graphics. Sorry, guys, trying a new format here, and I'm all over the place trying to seamlessly integrate this. Week 16, because that's when we, fine-tune our process. All right. Packers by 4.5 at the Panthers. Quarterback situation, we've got Jordan Love and Bryce Young. I just threw up in my mouth. Worst matchup in football for Jordan Love. Bryce Young gets the 18th best, so not a great matchup for either. Having said that, I'm sure even in a bad matchup, Jordan Love is higher for me. He is.
Yes,
he's at 18. Bryce Young is down at 30 in between Case Keenum and Mason Rudolph. That should tell you all you need to know. I will fire up Jordan Love in a super flex league. I'm not starting him in a single QB unless you're in some horrible mess, in which case you're probably screwed. And I don't want Bryce Young in any format unless I'm absolutely desperate. What do you think?
Yeah, right there with you. As much as I like Bryce Young coming out as an NFL quarterback, it's been about as bad as it can be for any quarterbacking situation. Reminds me of Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago with Jacksonville. It's just a disaster. You can't count on any fantasy points. Their offense is running it at such a high clip right now. They're trying to protect like Bryce Young. They're just feeding Chuba Hubbard. So Hubbard's really the only option in this offense I trust at all. And we'll get into Thielen a little bit. But yeah, I'm not playing Young. I have Bryce Young as a top 15 option. If you need to desperately play him, I'm fine with it. But the matchup, the way that Carolina plays, it just really limits him. So I have a hard time seeing him hit a ceiling for you.
Who do you have in top 15?
Yeah, I do. I have Jordan Love in the top 15.
You said Bryce Young in the top 15.
Sorry, Jordan Love. Not Bryce Young is 30. Bryce Young is down. Bryce Young is one spot of Mason Rudolph. That's where Bryce Young is. I was like,
did he say Bryce Young's in his top 15? Did I lose my fucking mind?
No, I'm not that much of a sniper.
Okay, all right. We got you. All right, moving on to running backs. Packers, 3rd best matchup. Panthers get the 8th best matchup. So it's pretty favorable here. Having said that, my highest is Chuba. I have Chuba at 11. I have Aaron Jones at 18. I far prefer Chuba. Never thought I'd say that. Aaron Jones is always an injury risk, but he's good when he does stay healthy. It just doesn't happen very often. Aside from him, I want absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. I don't want Miles Sanders. I don't want to play the A.J. Dillon game. These two might be closer together if A.J. Dillon misses again, but I think I'm still going Hubbard. What about you?
Yeah, I have Hubbard significantly above Aaron Jones this week. Aaron Jones is pushing top 30. It's just, man, like he hasn't been healthy, and they're not giving him enough work. So ideally, this matchup's really good for him, but you have a hard time trusting him because you don't know what Aaron Jones are going to get. Like that's just how bad it is. So ideally, he should be above Hubbard, but he's not. I much prefer Hubbard. He's averaging 24.7 opportunities since the coaching staff was fired. So like this offense runs through Chuba Hubbard, which is weird to say, but it is. He's a solid like RB2, and he has RB1 upside. But you just roll with Hubbard this week.
Wide receiver. It would be the 4th worst matchup for the Packers, 19th best for the Panthers. This one's tough for me. I think the best receivers are on the Packers, but the best target share belongs to Adam Thielen. I think Thielen is my highest. They're all in the wide receiver 3 range for me. I have Thielen at 33. Don't love it. I've sat him everywhere I have him. I have Dobbs at 39, Wicks at 44. Is Reed questionable? Why do I not have Reed? I'm looking
He's
for.
on my rate. He should be fine. Like, I'll double check. But let me see.
Why do I
I
have
have him like 30. Reed, by the way.
I don't have him in my rankings. He played last week, right?
Yeah, he missed practice yesterday because he's dealing with an injury. So like he injured his ankle in the game, and that's why he was out in the fourth quarter. He basically didn't play a snap in the fourth quarter. So.
I'm having all sorts of fantasy pros issues. Where the hell is he? It says he's in my rankings. Is it just have him buried? He must have had an injury designation. Yeah, I have him down at 54. He's listed as questionable with a toe injury. That's way too low. He's getting moved up for me too. He's going to be the highest ranked Packer for me, that's for sure. So, where did I say? Romeo Dubs
at 27.
Romeo Dubs is 39. I'm moving Reed up to 30, 3 spots above Thielen.
Yeah. It's all about health with Reed. If he's healthy, he's the guy I trust by far the most in this offense. He's a Debo light for Green Bay. They're getting looks on the end zone. They're giving him end arounds. Like, they're finding ways to get him the ball because he's their best wide receiver while Christian Watson is out. So, and maybe Watson's back this week, but I don't think he's expected to be back. So, overall, I'm trusting with Reed. If he's healthy, he's going to get to go. Other than that, I'll play Thielen. It's just kind of a low floor with Thielen. You know what you're going for. So, the upside that we saw earlier in the year is really much dissipated. And then it's Wicks and Dobbs and those guys, and really the wide receiver 4-5 range for me.
What the hell is going on with Fantasy Pros? My ranking didn't save when I updated it for Reed. It has Wan'Dale Robinson as wide receiver 17. How the fuck does that happen?
Wild.
Anyway, so I don't know. Something's going on with their site. It's giving me fits here, but we'll move on. Tight ends, we have Tucker Kraft gets the 21st best matchup, so a terrible one. 13th best for whoever the Panthers tight end is, Tommy Tremble. I want no part of either of them. Kraft, I guess, is a desperation low-end tight end 1, more like a tight end 2 for me. Don't want him unless I have to. 5th worst matchup for the Packers for Packers kicker Anders Carlson. 19th best matchup for Eddie Pinheiro of the Panthers. I don't want anything to do with either of these guys, so sit the tight end, sit the kickers. The DSTs is a different story. 3rd best matchup for the Packers. They are one of my favorite streams of the week. 8th worst matchup for the Panthers. I want no part of them. I'm sure the Packers are top 12 for me. They are their 5th, and the Panthers are towards the bottom, I'm sure, 26. So out of tight end, kicker, DST, Packers, I think, are a must start this week. I'm sitting everyone else unless I'm absolutely desperate and need to roll out Tucker Kraft. What do you think?
Yeah. I think Tucker Kraft's the one guy you could take a flyer on out of this. Obviously, starting the Packers defense, this matchup is good for them. So besides them, they're the only other one I'm willing to play if I need a tight end and I'm struggling. If I'm dealing with like Kincaid or Pitts or any one of those guys and the situation's a little dicey, like I don't mind rolling the darts and throwing on Tucker Kraft this week.
All right, let's see if the next time I transition to this, it works any better. It hasn't worked so far, but we'll do this. We'll do that. Let's see which game we'd like to do next. How about we go NFC North here? We will go the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Lions by 3.5, and this spread scares the shit out of me because this would be the first time the Lions actually pull out a big game at any point in the time I've been alive. So I fully expect, I'm a jaded childhood Lions fan, so I fully expect the Lions to implode over the next 3 games and miss the playoffs, but that's because I am a jaded Lions fan. Well, I'm not now, but I was. Quarterbacks, we have Jared Goff, who gets the 15th best matchup, versus Nick Mullins, who gets the 5th best matchup. I have Nick Mullins at 11, Jared Goff at 12, and that may be the scariest thing I've ever said. What are your thoughts this week?
Yeah, sorry, my daughter just came into the room, so it might be a little bit noisy. But yeah, I like Goff a lot. I also don't mind streaming. What's his name? Nick Mullins.
I have Mullins higher somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good matchup for him, so I get it. Hey, can you stop for a second, please? Yeah, so give me 1 second, and I'm going to handle
I'll go through it.
Yeah.
I handle your business, man. I got it. All right. So, like I said, I think they're both viable here. I have Mullins higher than Goff, but I wouldn't fault you if you were safer and wanted to go with Goff. Having said that, the Vikings defense has been better as of late, whereas the Lions defense seems to be all over the place. Running backs. We have the Sixth worst matchup for the Lions and the second worst matchup for the Vikings. I am comfortable firing up both Lions. I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. I've got, where's David Montgomery? David Montgomery has 24. I'm still starting both of them. Definitely for Gibbs. The Vikings scare me a little more. I have Ty Chandler at 20. I don't know where I have, what's his name? Alexander Madison. He's farther down, I believe. Anyways, the way I have this one ranked, I have Gibbs, Chandler, Montgomery, Madison. I don't mind starting all of them. Madison's the one I'd prefer to avoid. I have him down way down in the 40s. I think Gibbs is an absolute must start. Well, how do you have these ones ranked? I have Madison ranked significantly lower, but I think Gibbs is the must start. Chandler and Montgomery are the probably start, and Madison is the maybe start if you have to for me. I don't know how you see it.
Yeah, I really don't want to touch Madison. He scares the crap out of me. We saw Chandler step into a role and be like a good running back in that offense, which they have struggled to have all year. And the coaching staff said they want to treat him as if he's the bell cow in this offense. So I'm firing up Chandler. I have him as a high-end RB2 in this matchup. The volume and his usage and all that is really good. And then it's Gibbs. Like, Gibbs is incredible. And then you get Monty as like the flex running back. So overall, they're all top three. Like, where's Monty for me? Monty is, one second. He's like 22. So I have 3 top 22 running backs in this game. And I am fine rolling them out. I'm just not going to touch Madison. Madison's the one that just sits on the bench. I don't want to deal with that.
Fair enough. Wide receivers, both good matchups. 7th best for the Vikings, 10th best for the Lions. As usual, I believe. Oh, no. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not my highest. I have Justin Jefferson at 3. That's kind of scary. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown at 5. My next highest is inevitably going to be Jordan Addison, who's down at 26. So we have 2 must starts here, and you just hope Jefferson gets right. St. Brown is normally pretty solid. Addison at 26, you can play him. I don't think there's a playable guy left in this game. I have Jameson Williams down at 46. He is an absolute dart throw. Hope he reels in a long touchdown territory there. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. Like, you're chasing that long touchdown if you're playing.
He's Gabe Davis 2.0.
Exactly. Just less targets. So it's even more treacherous. But yeah, I have Amon-Ra above Jay Jettis. They're both top 6 wide receivers, so it's not like I'm really throwing a big deal. It's just Jefferson isn't the true elite difference maker that he was pre-injury, and it's Mullins is part of it too. But it's a little bit better now that Josh Dobbs is not the quarterback. At least Mullins is supporting the offense. So yeah, I'm firing up him and Addison, and Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. Adam, where is Addison? Addison's wide receiver 24, and I feel like that's a good spot for him. He's still going to get big plays and that potential because we saw last week 3 guys took Jefferson. Literally 3 guys on the defense took him on the crossing route, and that's why Addison took the pass because he was just wide open. So yeah, like Jefferson helps out Addison in this too. So I like all 3 of them.
All right, I'll move on so I can answer that question. Tight ends, we have 8th best matchup for Hawkinson, 20th best matchup for Laporta. Having said that, Hawkinson's my 2, Laporta's my 4. I am insanely high on McBride, so you may feel differently. The kickers, I have 7th best matchup for what is now Michael Badgley. 23rd best matchup for Joseph. I don't really want either. I'm sure I have Badgley in startable range. Oh, no, I don't. I haven't factored in. Oh, yeah, I do. I have Badgley as a 20th-ish ranked kicker, so I'd like to avoid him if possible. So you're starting both tight ends. You're benching both kickers if you can. DST's 10th best matchup for the Lions. 20th best matchup for the Vikings. I don't really want any part of either of these. I have the Lions at 24 and the Vikings at 27. As scary as this sounds, I think if forced to pick one, I would go the Vikings over the Lions, but that absolutely terrifies the shit out of me. What do you think?
I'm with you. The only difference is Nick Mullins is kind of turnover prone in his career. So if I'm going to chase a defense in this one, I'm just going to chase the Lions if they can get pressure on Mullins because that's how the turnovers. He's been kind of risky in his career, so I'm fine going that. But I don't want either defense to tell you the truth. Like, I'm just going to stay away from both of them.
And our question here is Eagles or Cleveland DST. Eagles get the 2nd best matchup against the Giants. Cleveland gets the 25th best matchup against the Texans. I don't have to look at my rankings, but I will. I'm going to tell you Philly is going to be top 5. They are 2nd best. Cleveland all the way down at 12, so they are still a worthy streamer. This one is easy for me. This is Philly all the way. Do you have any disagreement with that, Philly over Cleveland?
So I don't mind chasing Cleveland because it's Case Keenum. So like it's a little bit the matchup's better than what it was with Stroud, right? But overall, yeah, like you get Philly's defense. It's just Philly's defense sucks. And this is what worries me with their defense. Like they get destroyed via the pass. So ideally we need them to be better, but it just hasn't been good. So I have them both like top 10, but I'm not super confident in either one, honestly.
All right. But so in the end, who's your preference here in the end?
Philly, but like it's more just I think there's better options. Hopefully you have better options. I can help rephrase that.
I guess we can take a look at that game right now. We will go Giants at Eagles. Eagles by 12. That's lovely. Tommy DeVito and Jalen Hurts. That's same level, right? For Tommy DeVito, it is I can't even find him. Oh, there he is. Second best matchup for Tommy DeVito. Jalen Hurts, 17th best matchup. I don't think it's going to be that close in my rankings. It is Jalen Hurts at 2. Tommy DeVito way down at 20. 20 scared the freaking shit out of me. 23. Would you like to discuss the quarterbacks here while I briefly resuscitate my heart after your Holy shit.
This is
I was on the other screen and didn't know there was a kid in the room, and all of a sudden I thought it sounded like my surround sound speakers are on. I thought my kid was home behind me. Fucking
You're like, no, what the heck happened? Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. She's watching some YouTube show. Yeah, so it's Jalen Hurts like by a bajillion miles. But if you want to go DeVito this route, I'm playing him in a league, and I'm actually fine with it. Like Philadelphia's defense is not good. This is what I'm talking about. So if you need a desperation QB2, like you could fire up DeVito. He's going to give you fantasy points. The Philadelphia defense is just not what we thought it was. It's kind of crumbled this season. So it should be an interesting game. They might force some turnovers from DeVito, but he has a high rushing floor, so I'm fine playing DeVito if you desperately need to play him. He's my QB 22 this week.
Yeah, I agree. Running backs here. Where are we? 10th best matchup for the Eagles. Worst matchup for the Giants. This one scares the hell out of me. Barkley's the easy one to start for me, even though I hate the matchup. He's my highest ranked. I think he's at 25 for me. 23 for me. One spot above DeAndre Swift, who's at 20. Sorry, the 23 and 25. One spot above DeAndre Swift, who I think is talented, but as we seen last week, if he goes down on the one, he's not going to get the touchdown. He doesn't score. This is the problem. The tush push is killing DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
Aside from that, my next bet would be Gainwell, who's down at 46. So I think you have two low-end playable running RB2s here. I'm not thrilled to have either of them in my lineup, but if you haven't, you probably have to start them, but it's terrifying. What do you think?
Yeah. This is the issue with Swift. He's kind of seen his snap share limit in the 60s and the 50s lately because Gainwell's playing a role. So he's getting some Gainwell cutting into it. And then Hurts takes all the high value touches like you're talking about. So really, I don't want to play Swift this week. Like he seems very much like a floor play. And if you're playing a floor play in the championship games, like semifinal, like you probably have a better option. So I know he has the name cachet and just a good offense, but it's just not a good situation. Barkley's still top 14 for me. It's just because he gets all of the work. Even though a bad matchup, he's going to get a ton of volume and he's going to be involved. So I much prefer Barkley.
I just don't think they stay in it. And if he gets any points, it's going to have to be on pass catching. But okay, so I'm going to have to, I don't know if this is just a memory issue. Do you remember them doing the tush push last year? I remember this becoming a thing maybe. Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, I don't understand why through the first 4 weeks, Swift was getting all. I know Gainwell was out, but Swift wasn't losing touchdowns like he is now. And have they just ramped up the tush push where they're just using it more? Or did they not start using it for the first month of the season? Or
their offense has struggled the last month. So, like, it's not clicking the same. So I think they're
so they're over-relying on it?
I think so. I think that's what it is. Like, I remember the game against Seattle. It seemed like they ran tush push like 6 times. I
don't remember the first – when Swift had his 3 or 4 week hot streak after Gainwell went out, I don't remember – like, I had him. I don't remember going, oh, we're in the red zone. Shit, Swift is going to lose out again to a tush push. But now it just seems inevitable. Like, he tripped over his own lineman. What was it? Jason Kelsey on the one. Mm-hmm. And you're going, well, fuck, there goes the Swift touchdown. Like, you knew he wasn't going to get it. And sure enough, he didn't get it. So,
I mean, it makes sense. Hurts is a freaking tank back there. So I 100% understand why they're doing it. He's massive human. So they're like, you know what? Give us this giant
Every time he touches the ball, they bring up that he bench presses 600 pounds. That's how often they bring it up that I know what Jalen Hurts bench presses.
He's freaking built like a tank, man. It's wild. He's huge.
Moving on to the wide receivers here. We have fifth best matchup for the Eagles and the best matchup for the Giants, which may account for why Wandell was so high in my rankings. He's not going to be that high when I'm done. AJB is my 2. Devontae Smith will be next. He is at 20 for me. Wandale Robinson is next, and I moved him down. He's somewhere in the 40s, 43. Yeah. He's in Gabe Davis, Romeo Dobbs territory here. I don't hate him. If I had to start a Giant, it would be Wandale Robinson. I'm starting both Eagles receivers. I don't really want to have to start anyone else. How about you?
Yep, I'm with you. AJB's wide receiver 1. Like, this just he's going to cook this week, so I'm all aboard the AJB train. The Giants, like, they struggle against these colors, particularly someone as physically talented as AJ Brown. Devontae Smith, he's top 20. Like, he's a really good wide receiver. I get it, they struggle with that. Hey, stop, please, thank you. And Wandale Robinson is wide receiver 40. He's the dart throw if you want to throw a dart throw on any Giants wide receiver. He's a PPR scam, so he should get some points in usage.
Tight end, 16th best matchup for Waller, 26th best matchup for Goddard. I probably have them both ranked just on the outside of the top 12. Goddard at 14, Waller at 15. So, 14, 15. Having said that, I don't want to start either of them if I don't have to. They both don't. I mean, Waller had a more steady role last week than Goddard. His injury is always a risk. Goddard is a risk of injury and doesn't seem to be getting the target share. I'd like to avoid both if I can. As far as kickers go, we have Jake Elliott gets the 22nd best matchup, 25th best matchup for Randy Bullock on the Giants. I think that's who's still kicking there. My highest is Elliott at 11, so you can play him. And I want nothing to do with Bullock or whoever the Giants kicker ends up being. The DSTs are a little more interesting. As I said in our last question, I have the Eagles at 2. They are a must start for me. The Giants are at 31 for me. They are an absolute avoid. Obviously, a great matchup for the Eagles, terrible matchup for the Giants. What do you think here to close this one out?
Yeah, I'm with you. You're firing up the Eagles defense everywhere you have them because you know the situation. And like it could be a snowball situation or quicksand where it just kind of just deteriorates more and more for DeVito. And they kind of force it, more turnovers happen. It's a blowout. I don't fully expect that to happen, but I think that's in the range of outcomes with those guys. And yeah, like the tight end range, Goddard saw 9 targets last week, which seemed weird that they were very much involving him in the offense. So we'll see if that sticks. It's kind of hard to trust it with Goddard because he's competing with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And if you need follow-up Waller, like, yeah, go for it. They have no other pass catchers, so it's him and Wandale. Really don't trust anyone else in the offense.
All right, let's get this one out of the way. It's easily the worst of the 4 remaining games. Cardinals at Bears. Bears by 4. Yikes. Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. It is the 8th best matchup for Justin Fields, 13th best for Kyler. I have Fields in my rankings. I think this is another glitch because it has him at 3 for me right now. He's getting moved down to 13. Him and Kyler are going to be 13, 14 for me. I don't have any faith. These two seem very similar. I don't have any faith in either of them. I don't want them as my QB1, but I will start them if I have to. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to find in the rankings. Yeah, I feel it's at 6. I don't know where I have Murray. Like, I feel like Murray's at 17. They've had their issues, but like the thing with the Cardinals defense is they're just not good. So, like, I think for Fields, this actually boosts him because the defense is not going to cause the issues that most defenses will. And he can have a really good game. So, I'm totally fine rolling out Fields. Murray's a little bit more dicey just because he hasn't been as good. And give me 1 second. I'm going to take her and try to get her out of this room.
No worries. We'll move on to running back here. We have the best matchup for the Bears, the 13th best matchup for James Conner. I think Conner is going to be a must start this week, as scary as that is. I have him at 29, but I'm going to move him up into the late teens, I think. The Bears, that's a scarier situation. It is a prime matchup. Roshan was getting all the third down work. Deonta Foreman and Khalil Herbert were splitting the first 2 downs. Roshan, most of his work came late. If I had to pick one, I would be going Deonta Foreman highest, but I don't have any of them higher than RB3, so I prefer to avoid it. Easily the favorite one for me in this game, or the preferred option would be James Conner, and it's not particularly close. Moving on to wide receiver, 13th best matchup for the Bears, 16th best matchup for the Cardinals. The only 2 playable ones in this matchup are DJ Moore and Hollywood Brown. DJ is wide receiver 7 for me. He is a must start, especially in this matchup. Excuse me. Hollywood Brown I have down at, excuse me. Hollywood is way the hell. Oh, I do not have Hollywood ranked because he's been dealing with an issue health-wise. That's why I do not have him in. He is currently unranked for me. I think you have to avoid him anyways the way he's been playing. He hasn't been finishing games, hasn't been good when he has played. So as far as, excuse me, as far as the receivers go, DJ Moore is a must start. Hollywood is an avoid. Nobody else. Tight ends is where the real action is. 4th best matchup for Trey McBride. 5th worst matchup for Cole Kmet. They are both must starts for me. I have McBride at 3. I have Cole Kmet at 10, and you have to fire both of them up. Obviously, with more confidence for McBride, who's probably got the best workload right now of any tight end in the game. Kickers. At kicker, we have 12th best matchup for Cairo Santos of the Bears. 17th best matchup for Matt Prater of the Cardinals. I don't want to start either of them unless I have to. Santos is 14 for me. Prater is all the way down at 26. They are avoids unless you have no other option with Santos. The DSTs, both defenses are, well, I guess the Bears defense has been solid, but not great. Cardinals defense is terrible. They get the 7th best matchup. Bears get the 11th best matchup. The rankings, the Bears are the highest for sure at 14. You can play them. I don't know if I'd want to, but you can. Arizona is terrible. They are 25 for me. I want nothing to do with them in that matchup. They are absolutely brutal. So I don't want either kicker. I don't really want either defense unless you have to play the Bears. And I am absolutely must start firing up both tight ends. They are both elite options at tight end. Which game do we want next? Let's go with, one sec. We load this bad boy up, switch over. We will go with Jaguars and Buccaneers. Jags at Bucks. Bucks favored by 1. That's going to be a tight one. I think the Jags are probably the more talented team. The Bucks, let's just see if they want it more. They're both fighting. Well, I guess the Bucks are fighting for their playoff lives. Jags are pretty much in. QBs. We have CJ Beathard is who I have listed as the starting quarterback for the Jags. He's the 6th best matchup. I think it's more likely he plays than Lawrence plays. The Bucks' 3rd best matchup for Baker, who is my streamer of the week this week. I love him. He is the highest he's been all year for me. He is at 11. I have Trevor Lawrence still ranked in my rankings, although he is questionable with a concussion, I believe. It doesn't say on here, but he's 22nd. I don't think he plays, and I do. I have Beathard ranked at 30 in the event he plays. I far prefer to go with Mayfield over Beathard. I'm going probably Mayfield over Lawrence, even if he plays. I don't expect him to. What do you think here? Mayfield and Lawrence or Beathard or whoever the hell you think's going?
Yeah, I actually have Mayfield top 8 and T-Law is like right below him. So yeah, I'm on board with you with Baker. He's been really good in this matchup.
11 for Baker.
Yeah, so like I have Mayfield right there and then T-Law's 2 spots below him. But like the confidence factor is 100% on Mayfield. It's just Lawrence has just continued to struggle. And I saw someone put out a tweet where he's on the Derek Carr path for his future value. And I go, Jesus Christ, that hits way too close to home. So, yeah, I got Mayfield above T-Law this week.
Okay, one sec. Before we get moving on here, I'll answer this one. Thoughts on full PPR tight end? Hill, so I assume Taysom, Kincaid, Henry, Otten, Tucker, Kraft. Let me look here.
So I'm really worried about Kincaid. I know they only passed 15 times last week. But it's more how the situation has changed. They're very much featuring James Cook, and Kincaid's the one suffering, him and Diggs. So overall, of these guys, if you want to fire Taysom Hill in this matchup, totally fine with this. I think actually Kraft might be the highest in the rankings, but I'll throw a dart in and Hill in this one. We're just guys you don't have a lot of confidence in. That's where I'm at. So yeah, I'll fire Taysom Hill up.
The best matchup and the best usage is Cade Otten. I'm not going there. He's on the field. He's just not getting anything. My highest is Taysom Hill at 9, Kincaid at 10. I'm going Taysom Hill. It has 40-point upside and 2-point downside. I think I'm going Taysom tonight.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Dawson Knox is playing more of a role because they're playing more 12 personnel and blocking a lot more, so it sucks for Kincaid.
So for me, that's that one. Where I think we're both going to go Hill there.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the running backs. Let me switch back over. Running backs. 25th best matchup for the Jaguars. 18th best matchup for the Bucs. And I think we have two must starts here. Rachaad White is my 3 overall. Travis Etienne is my 9 overall. They are both must starts. And nobody else in this game. What do you think? Both must start?
Yeah, must start. You got to start both of them. Etienne's a little bit more dicey just with how it kind of works out for him. But overall, like, I'm firing both these guys up. White's a high-end RB1. I have Etienne as a mid-range RB1. But, yeah, like, I don't know why you would consider benching either one of these guys unless you're absolutely stacked at running back position.
I heard in a tweet, too, that he criminally underseasons his food, but that's just me.
He very much could.
Yeah. All right. Wide receivers, 4th best matchup for the Jags, 8th best matchup for the Bucs. My highest is Mike Evans at 7. Then I have Ralvin Kidley at 15. And next up, I'm sure, is going to be Chris Godwin, who has suddenly made himself useful again. Where the hell is he? I think he's in my wide receiver 3 range, but there he is, 32. So I've got Evans as a must start, Ridley as a must start at 15. And then you could probably get away with starting Godwin, but that's as a wide receiver 3. I don't really want anyone else in here. What do you think?
100%. Like, Godwin's usage the last 2 games has been really, really good. So I don't know what's changed yesterday for that absence, but he's been better than Mike Evans. But overall, Mike Evans is the highest. He's wide receiver 10 for me. And then I have Ridley and Chris Godwin 2 spots apart, like 19 and 21. I'm firing all 3 of these guys up everywhere. And then I'm not playing another wide receiver of any of these guys.
Tight ends. 3rd best matchup for Cade Otton. 6th best matchup for Evan Engram, and it's easily Engram for me. He is 6. Cade Otton is down at 20. I love how often he's on the field. I love his role. They just never throw the damn ball to him. As far as kickers go, it is the 26th best matchup for Chase McLaughlin of the Bucs. 21st best matchup for Brandon McManus of the Jags. I have both of them ranked outside the top 12. It's just how far outside. McManus is 21 for me, and McLaughlin is 17, so best to be avoided. Although McManus has been good this year, but he hasn't been great as of late. DST's 23rd best matchup for the Jags. 13th best matchup for the Bucs. I don't know. I have the Bucs as borderline here. They are 12. I probably will move them. You know what? They'll stay at 12 for me. And the Jags are down at 23. So I don't really want to start either. If I had to start one, it would be the Bucs. What do you think?
Yeah, same. I'm with you. And this basically just gets back to the issues the Jaguars kind of had lately. So I'll go with the Buccaneers defense, but I don't really want to play either one. The only confident one is Evan Engram. The rest of them are kind of like dice rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's try again here. We'll switch over to our second last game before the potential Super Bowl. This is Colts and Falcons. Falcons by 1 in this matchup. Quarterbacks. These are quarterbacks. That's all I can say. 12th best matchup for Minshew. 19th best matchup for Heineke. I have Ritter on the graphic, but I think it's officially Heineke now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it? I don't. They change it every fucking day. I don't know if I want to start either. I know Minshew's higher. He is 17 for me in Jordan Love territory. Heineke's down at 22, and that feels too high. Start Minshew if you have to stream a quarterback this week. Avoid Heineke like the plague. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know.
That's the best way to say it. Like, at least we've seen some upside with Minshew. Like last week, he had 23 fantasy points. Like, that's pretty good. Heineke, Ritter, these guys are just severely limited with the offense, and they're not good quarterbacks. So you have that double dipping effect where it's not going to work out for
them. Running backs. This may be the scariest one on the board for me. 4th best matchup for Bijan, who doesn't get used at all. 3rd worst matchup for Jonathan Taylor, who gets used but is coming off an injury. So I have Jonathan Taylor at 6, Bijan Robinson at 7, and that scares the shit out of me because these could be the 1 and the 2. Well, the 2 and the 3 on the week we won't pass Christian McCaffrey. Or they could be 34-35 on the weekend. There's no in between because one is coming off an injury and one is playing with a coach who's a moron. So 6 and 7 for me, they're absolute must starts, but they could absolutely blow up in your face because of, injury or stupidity. So I don't know. What do you think?
Good job, Arthur Smith, is all I can say about this one. The matchup and everything should be great for Bijan. It's just we saw they basically took him off the field after he fumbled, which is old school coaching and pissed everybody off. But his usage wasn't good anyways. On top of it, so it was just a terrible game. You kind of just have to wipe the slate clean, trust the matchup, and fire up Bijan. Jonathan Taylor seems like he's finally healthy, ready to go, and Zach Moss is dealing with an injury, so he has no competition this week. So I am anticipating him to be a bell cow, but with the variance factor of it might just not happen because of both these running backs. But yeah, they're both top 15 for me. And I'm firing up Bijan and just hoping we get the same play from Arthur Smith, which probably sounds like a terrible decision because it's Arthur Smith.
I'm trying to find the next player on my list here, and I don't know if I have him listed as out or if I'm just suddenly illiterate, but I can't find Michael Pittman. It says he's in my lineup. Where's Michael Pittman?
Oh, it's probably because he's doing that whatever.
Okay, so I don't know where Pittman is. He's way down. This site is all over the fucking place today. I don't care if Michael Pittman's on his deathbed. He's 87 in these rankings. How is that possible? Michael Pittman could be on a ventilator and is still higher than that. I don't I got to fix this. So we're gonna wing it on this one. 22nd best match. 11th worst matchup for the Falcons, 6th worst matchup for the Colts. I don't care at wide receiver. Michael Pittman is going to be somewhere around 10 to 15 for me. I want nothing to do with anybody else. Drake London is a desperation play. He's probably a wide receiver if you have to, or wide receiver 3 if you have to. Other than that, give me Pittman and nobody else. What do you think?
Yeah, it's with the concussion, you just kind of have to watch Pittman and see if he clears or not. I don't know if he's going to clear, so you have to have backup plans for Pittman. He's 22 wide receiver just basically because he's injured. If he's fully healthy, ready to go, I'm going to bump him up because his usage is incredible. He's fantastic. London is just you just hope and pray. Same thing with Bijan. Same thing with Pitts. All these guys. It's that whole offense. It's just a disaster. The talent's there. Situation kind of sucks. So he's my wide receiver 30, I think. Let me see. He is wide receiver 36, and it just shows you what you're just doing with him. You know the risk that you play him. So there's upside. There's also a 0-4 bagel. So you have to make that decision.
Tight end, 10th best matchup for the Colts, 12th best matchup for the Falcons. I want no part of Kyler Granson or whoever the Colts play. Kyle Pitts is my tight end 18 this week, so I also want no part of him unless you're absolutely desperate. 3rd and 4th best matchup here for the kickers. They are going to be in my lineup. Matt Gay of the Colts is 2nd best. Younghoe Koo of the Falcons is 9th best. They are both absolute must starts this week. The defenses, 12th best matchup for the Colts, who I am absolutely firing up. 16th best matchup for the Falcons, who are a little more wishy-washy for me. I have the Colts at 15, and that's going to significantly change. They are going up to 8. Colts at 8, and the Falcons are going to be at 20. Don't really want to play the Falcons. I would love to play the Colts, though. So I don't want either tight end. I want both kickers, and I'd love to play the Colts DST. They are a great streamer. What do you think?
100%. I much prefer the Colts defense between the two. And yeah, the kickers, I'm on board. We're rolling with both of them. So if you have them, just put them in your lineup and expect fantasy points. And the tight ends, don't touch them. Do not play them. That's just asking for trouble.
She is very hyper today. Hey?
It's one of her favorite shows right now. I can hear the show. I'm like, yep.
What is she watching?
It's Oddbods. This is this weird cartoon show that they don't talk, but they just do these weird animations. She loves it.
All right, let's wrap this up with the prize of the weekend. The potential Super Bowl preview. Ravens at 49ers. 49ers picked by 4.5, and I actually like the Ravens to win this, but that's just me. Quarterback will start at, we have 3rd worst matchup for Purdy, 5th worst matchup for Lamar. Don't care. Lamar is my 4. Purdy is my 6. I am starting them both. How about you?
Yep, the situation for Purdy is just out of control, ridiculous, and he's good. The thing with the Ravens defense, they've been really good, but this is the biggest challenge they're going to face all year. So I want to put it with a caveat. It seems like it's a good matchup against him, but I'm still rolling Purdy, and it's Lamar Jackson. You don't bench Lamar Jackson because you know the upside he has. So he's QB3, Purdy 6. I'm actually right there with the rankings, so we're riding with both these guys. Play them both. Expect lots of points this game.
Running backs, 5th worst matchup for the 49ers, 7th worst for the Ravens. Doesn't matter. McCaffrey is my number 1. I have both Ravens running backs as low end running back 3s. I have, where the hell was it? Gus as has 33 overall. I have Hill at 40 overall. I don't love either, but I prefer Gus. I know it's very likely or possible that Justice Hill gets all the action, but I prefer to bet on Edwards if I have to. Having said that, I'd like to fire up Christian McCaffrey and nobody else in this one. How about you?
Yeah, they just added Melvin Gordon to the active roster, so expect him to poach some stuff. Yep. It's just I really don't want to play Ravens running back. I just really don't want to do it because you don't know how it's going to work out. There's a ton of risk with all of these guys. We thought we had something with Keaton Mitchell. He was awesome, and then injury takes that from us. So 2 awesome Ravens running backs gone for the year. It's really disappointing, but yeah, CMC, he's RB1 forever. Like, just till the end of time. It's just CMC's world.
15th best matchup for the Ravens receivers, 25th for the 49ers receivers. I'm sure Debo is going to be my highest. He is at 12. My next highest is Zay Flowers at 24. And Ayuk's going to be here somewhere. I don't know where.
I have Ayuk at 13.
I don't have Ayuk anywhere near that high. Oh, he's another one with an injury tag, isn't he? Oh, no, he's not. Never mind. I missed him. They're 12 and 13. They're back-to-back. I have Debo at 12, Ayuk at 13, and then I have Zay at 24, so he doesn't have an injury tag. Having said that, I find all 3 of them, they're the only 3 I'm starting. I think all 3 of them have upside and significant risk. They could all put up a dud, or they could all be a top 5 receiver this week. I guess I prefer Ayuk, so I think I'm going to switch that to Ayuk higher, but it's a scary one for me.
I love myself some Deebo Samuel, so he's always going to be my favorite among these guys. But the weird thing with Flowers is, his usage. Okay, we're just going to skip what I'm going to say because it's not happening.
Okay, it's all right. I will keep going here. I'll get us to the tight ends. You are having technical difficulties with the child. 6th worst matchup for the 49ers and George Kittle. 10th worst matchup for Isaiah Likely. So let's look here. I have Kittle at 5. I have Likely at 9. You're firing both up if you have either as tight end 1s. The kickers, we have the 11th best matchup for Jake Moody of the Niners. 20th best matchup for Justin Tucker of the Ravens. Tucker is my 4 on the week. Moody is 13. Tucker is a must start. Moody is a probably start unless you have an insanely high better option. The defenses are scary. The DSTs here. Worst matchup for the Ravens. 7th worst matchup for the Niners. Having said that, the Niners and Ravens both rank outside the top 12 for me. San Fran is my 14. Baltimore is my 23. I will start the Niners if I have to. I would like to avoid it. So Niners if you have to, avoid the Ravens, firing up both tight ends and both kickers. I think that's pretty much a wrap on that one, unless you have some disagreement here between you.
Right there with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is a wrap. Check back with us tomorrow at noon for the 8 NFC home game previews. Good luck, everyone, tonight who has to start either Rams or Saints players. Get off to a good start here in Week 16, and hopefully you'll survive to have to watch us again next week. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.